o'clock morning.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. Why do I hear this?
I have no idea.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Gabfest. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of the Gabfest.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Thank you. I was waiting for that.
I forgot. Where does that come in? Hello.
Because hello.
I didn't say hello today. Sorry. My bad.
Okay, we can start over.
Hi, go. Hi, thank you so much for joining.
This one weekend we thrown off.
You know, forgetting protocol,
Yeah.
Hi, Shem. It's been 2 weeks for me, guys. I'm excited.
You weren't here last time.
Hi, Shem. You guys didn't even miss me.
Shame.
Oh,
We
I was
did.
sitting in your seat.
I did see. You were keeping it nice and warm. Thank you so much.
And then you have me over here.
What's happening here?
2 coffees. This one is cold, so I'm first drinking it faster so that I can get to the warm one. But
So let's just make the other one cold and then, just drink
think
the hot
that
one.
is
We
not
can
gonna be
read.
anywho, so I started this 30 day challenge, the app one that I was telling you about now. And you're only supposed to have 2 coffees a day. And I've been so good. Some days I'm missing coffee as a whole, and some days I'm literally just doing 2. But can I tell you, this is my 5th coffee for the day.
For the day.
I was about to say, there, your quota's gone, but I shame.
Because I had one when I dropped the kids at school, and I got one at home. In my the stress is finished. Then I did one after I got out of the shower. Then I did one when I fetched a friend to drop her off somewhere, and then I have this white one. Okay, so we're on 6, but it will be my last.
Wow.
Nothing more for today.
I mean, optimism is a thing. Let's be optimistic about
Let's
this.
drink the hot one so that I don't finish that one.
I was going to judge you, but I can't because I drink. Yeah, I'm right up there too.
But yeah,
My cups.
thanks so much for joining us. I'm not going to ask you how was your week this week. I'm going to ask you something different, right?
All right. Let's hear it.
Go for it.
So, what this week stood out the most in terms of it was inspiring, inspirational, or something, anything, or maybe one day where you just felt like I'm not feeling today, and then someone said something and you're like, okay, that made me feel so much better, or you read a quote that made you think about something, or anything like that.
I wish you said that like 5 minutes just before the show started.
So you could prepare.
You prepare?
I have an answer.
Okay, let's go.
So I've been surrounded by someone that generally has a positive outcome. And that's been life-changing for me. Because I feel like generally I tend to be, I don't want to say I tend to be negative, but I have been in a space where I look at the negative things before the
You see
positive.
the light in it.
So when you spend time with people that have a positive outlook, it kind of starts to rub off on you. So I think for me that is what has been like.
That's why they say watch who your circle is.
Yeah. So, yes.
I found my quote. I did actually have an inspiring quote this
See,
week.
you just had to think about it. There you go.
Hence my 5 minutes. So this is actually, I'd like to think of him as a friend. We'd met a couple of weeks or months back. Me and Xavier had met him. It's Clint Brink, the actor. So he had posted on his page, and I thought it was just so profound. He said, one day, if not today, the kindness you've shown, the commitments you've honored and that abused your trust, the work you've put in and the victory you were robbed of, the heartbreak, you suffering at the hands of those who you allowed in, all will be avenged. Light repels darkness. And I think for me, because I think we've been going through quite a bit of a funny time lately. And Xavier would ask me, like, is God okay with us? People doing funny things to other people and just getting away with it. Is he okay with it? And I think that was encouraging to know that you just do you. Just go on, just focus, just keep on doing what you do and remain intact who your character, keep your character intact. And everything else will sort itself out because light repels darkness.
Yep.
Hi guys, I did it.
Good job. Good job. Before I say my one, if there is anybody watching and you'd like to share anything that could even motivate us, like Cleo, you can take something from that in terms of who you surround yourself with. Makes a big difference on your outcome in situations. What Anka said about you working and the negativity that comes with it, you feel, is it worth it? All those kind of things, but light kills
darkness.
Exactly. And then from my side, for me, I'm also going through something that's like, I don't know how to explain it. I also don't want to speak about it because it makes me cry every time I speak. But something has been happening and stuff. And from nowhere, Jess, she's usually one. If you don't know Jess, she's our First Fridays co-host. And sorry, she was actually supposed to be here last week, but because the show was cancelled, she didn't come. Sorry, Jess. But with that, she from nowhere, because usually if we do chat, it would be like, did you see the story? You know, it's one of those, can you believe, or watch this, or read this, or something like that. I think you'd be interested. But for the first time ever, it's like where I have somebody who is a friend send a message that was so on point. And when I thanked her for it, she was like, she's been wanting to send it, but every time she checks, she's like, the day is gone, she'll do it tomorrow. The day is gone, she'll do it tomorrow. And this time around, she literally did it, and word for word is exactly what I am going through. So for me, that was like a reminder of sometimes don't just wait. Maybe somebody needs to hear whatever you have to say, and you think maybe they think, I think they being funny, or something like that. But at the end of the day, someone sometimes needs to hear what you actually have to say. So that was my...
Especially if it's something positive, something that could maybe get them through the next phase. Like some people are going through stuff out there and they maybe just decided to give up. And just that message can just like give them a shove to move on.
So it was very in place. It's just insight sending something there. So so today...
Wait, aren't you reading the thing?
What thing?
Oh, you're not telling us
No,
about
I'm not going to read it because I don't want you to know what it is.
Okay. Wow. Sorry.
I can tell you behind the scenes, but not like... It's still in a moment of... That's one of the other things we really want to speak about, the oversharing thing, knowing when you're okay to overshare something. Yeah. So it's one of those where you're not ready because you're still going through it.
Yes.
So...
I feel it.
When we through it, and then I'll read it.
Okay. I got you.
Just being like, aren't you going to read it? I really want to know now.
No, I thought maybe you just forgot and you got sidetracked.
No, not yet. Not today. But so today we're doing the love thyself before others, right? So we just want to state from the get-go, this is not the love yourself, I'm taking a bath. The hashtag self-care, hashtag self-love, hashtag. Today we're diving into a bit. The chair is making a noise every time I move. Anka's face. Okay. Today we're diving into the deep, the mind side of loving yourself and why it is important. Can you hear the chair though?
I thought it's my chair.
Can Lee just give a thumbs up? Do you hear it on the thing as well? Because it's disturbing me, so I just want to know, do I have to stand for the rest of the show? Cool. Okay. So we're speaking about the loving yourself before being able to love others, and what's the meaning behind it actually to love yourself before loving others. Because a big mistake we make is... we tend to try to find love in ourselves through other people, right? So when you're in the right relationship, then you love yourself. When you're wearing the right clothing, then you love yourself. Everything comes from the outside, and then you try and develop love on the inside, as where it's supposed to be the other way around, right? So you want to jump in with your thoughts on it? So when I spoke to Cleo about it, and I said, I really want to do something that's not just self-love, as in self-care, how to look after yourself, how to do this, how to do that. She said she had a podcast, and I actually listened to the podcast. I can't remember the name, Rick something. But anyway, just to hear a different aspect of someone else's view on the whole self-love things. So in some areas I did disagree a bit with a few things, but what's your take before we go to Anka? Because me and Anka spoke about it before the show, but before you add your 10 cents, you like your 5 minutes to think.
Wait, so are you asking me about the
general,
other?
No, not the other one.
Oh,
in general, the topic of today.
Yeah, I feel like
the importance, why you think,
where do I start? Because it took me a while to learn this lesson. And I feel like finally, at 30 years old, I've made the right choice, because I feel like before I had a very negative relationship with myself. And I was even unaware of how unhealthy it was. And when you choose people, whether it be friends or partners, from that state, you don't choose the right people. And if you do choose the right people, you don't know how to care for them and how to handle them, because you can't treat someone well if you're not being like kind to yourself. Because a lot of the time,
with yourself.
yeah, because a lot of the time the people in your life also mirror the relationship you have with yourself. So yeah, I think I finally made the right decision, and I'm very interested and excited to dive into this.
Thanks.
I don't really have a wow and out there opinion about it. Like I always say,
Balance. Are you going to go to
Yeah.
balance?
balance the situation, because I think a lot of the times we confuse it with selfishness, and instead of
Yes.
doing certain things that is really loving and kind towards ourselves. And like we said, it's not a matter of taking a bath and taking the time out to do your nails. It's not that kind of thing. But I think being married and being in a relationship and constantly not having time for yourself, you find yourself in a space where you think of a certain way of yourself. This is the mold I need to fit in.
Yes.
And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you come home and you break down and you think, okay, fine, but I'm not a good person. I'm not a good mother. I'm not a good wife because I can't fit into this mold that society has set out. And then we're unkind to ourselves. And then you fall into the slump and you're like, okay, let me just get through this day. Let me just, so that, my kids can just get to school, come back, let's just sleep. Like the humdrum of everyday life. But you're not really living because you're not really okay and satisfied with who you are and what you bring to the table. So I think it's very important. Over time, people have obviously put the thing, no, you must put yourself first, yes. But if you do it in such a positive way, you'll also be considerate of whoever else is in your life, so that you guys can grow together. I mean, being married and being in a partnership, you're mindful of the next person, because it's not just about you, it's about the two of you. But at the same time, because of all your duties that you need to fulfill, there needs to be a space where you say, look, baby, I'm feeling a certain way because, so that you can start appreciating each other.
Yes.
In order to also feel like, okay, no, I can do this. I can put one step in front of the other.
So I want to also find out from you guys, before we go on to further into that, can we distinguish with us sitting here what we think actual loving yourself is, in terms of, if you had to put a definition to it, what's your aspect?
I would say, for me, loving yourself is making sure your own cup is filled first. So making sure that your well-being, your mental state, your emotional state is fulfilled by your own self first, and you're not using distractions or other people to give you that. So you are happy and content on your own, and all of that then ripples into the rest of your relationship. So it's just like I was saying, like taking care of your mental health, physical health, emotional self. Like that can look like anything to anyone.
Yeah. It will differ from one to the other.
But yeah, that's basically it for me.
For me, it's a more spiritual thing for me. If my cup is filled, when my relationship with God is on par, then I know that I have the actual confidence. So the past 2 weeks, I've been going through something that, remember, the last show I was on, we were speaking about that when you feel sort of insecure, when I was speaking about that in the last show I was here, sorry. And how you feel insecure when you walk into the presence of someone else or another woman or whatever, because you think, okay, fine, they're more confident. And the past 2 weeks have been a journey for me into stepping into that confidence and knowing who you are and what your purpose is. And it took me forever. It took me 33 years to figure out what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to approach it. And I think when that cup, like you're saying, is filled, and I get to the part where I know, okay, fine, on a spiritual basis, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I find it's more edifying for me. So I'm more confident when I do something, and I feel like I'm more into my own, like who I am as a person. And for me personally, that for me is self-love, and that journey of finding who you are and establishing it on a good foundation.
So I would also say, say the same way you guys were saying about the Gold Cup thing and the loving yourself and stuff. But for me, I think that it's something so much deeper in terms of just like, in order for your mental health to be at a proper state, there must be some form of appreciation towards yourself.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's one of the biggest things that stands out in terms of self-love is that do you actually appreciate yourself
As you
the
are
way,
in this moment.
yes, and the way you would someone else. So the same way you can say, oh, that person has this personality that I appreciate that. Can you say that about yourself? Can you say, I admire that about me? Can you say, oh, wow, I admire the way I just handled that situation right now? And like, once you're bold and confident in my goodness, I am so pleased with how I dealt with it now. I got my big gold panties on. That's how I find my self-love, when I start realizing that my actions is a bit more mature, if that's the proper word to use. But it's not petty, it's not all those kind of things. And yes, sometimes you make a mistake where you were petty in a situation, and then going back and you think about it and you try to change the situation, you start losing that confidence in yourself again, because
You
now
rethink it.
you rethink it and all those kind of things. And to me, I find that that's a big form of self-love in my life. It's that, do you actually appreciate who you are, what you're doing, all those things? Because let's be honest, I can be cooking for everybody, but you can be happy that there's a plate of food, but how do I feel as a person putting that plate of food on the table? I could be moody because, exactly, I was also just ironing the whole day, and now you asking me what food is there, and all those kind of things.
Or you've prepared it and now it's like, oh, but there's no salt, or the little petty things, and the way you see it, okay, it's not my best, I didn't have this.
But I feel good about it.
Yeah.
I think that's the level of self-love that I'm really aiming to get to, in terms of feeling good about every step you do. And like you say, when it comes to the spiritual side as well, it's difficult, but if you don't have that spiritual side, it's much more difficult to find that, let me place myself in a good place. You find yourself here, and then you're there, and then that's when you're all over the place and not sure what you actually want, because you're trying to find all this inspiration from somewhere else.
Someone once said, if you don't like the way you're feeling, change what you're thinking, because our thoughts determine how we feel. So it becomes a matter where you need to tell yourself, I cooked this and this was good. And I stood here with all my time and love and appreciation, and said, and you need to hype yourself up, whatever you're busy doing. Like, I'm gonna do this now, and I can do this. I know it sounds corny, but you need to give yourself
your
a
own
pep
hype
talk.
man. And I think also what I'm also trying to focus on is, like, when you're in a bad space, or if you make a mistake, like you mentioned, don't be so hard on yourself, because if you were, for example, you were going through something and I was coming to you as a friend, I wouldn't speak to you the way I would usually speak to myself in those moments. So I'm trying to focus on
that
just being a bit
aspect.
more gentle,
Don't be
with
so
myself.
that's a good word to use, gentle on yourself. Can you read it?
So Leandra here says, agreed, Anka, we should not confuse self-love with selfishness. I think that there is a fine line between self-love and narcissism, and that's the danger of this narrative. So true. Very true.
Because at the same time, I don't want to go too much into the whole what society is depicting self-love to be at the moment. It's to show, if you are big, put on a panty and post hashtag self-love, I'm happy with my body, and those kind of things. So what I find that society is creating is, find what you're uncomfortable with.
Yes. And amplify it, and then hashtag it self-love, so that you can get some sort of acceptance. And I feel like that is not bringing the aspect of self-love to the actual person, because now, let's say, God forbid, you do post the picture and nobody comments on it, or someone says something nasty,
or someone says, but now remember, you can have one nasty thing but then maybe 10 good things. But now let's say one day nobody even comments a nasty or a good thing, automatically you go back to that, because you're trying to find your love in
Yeah.
approval.
Likes
And
and comments.
it's very superficial because I know of a lot of people that would take a picture, post it, and even the likes are not enough, they delete it because
Yeah, I also know a few people that do that.
which is, it's a very superficial approach. And is it really tackling what you're going for, which is the self-love? You need to make peace with yourself in the mirror. There's so much flaws in the morning for me, and there was a time when I didn't want to be in friendship groups. I didn't want to go out and hang out with people because I saw that there's certain things wasn't aesthetically appealing to me, like physically wasn't aesthetically appealing to myself. So I didn't want to be in the presence of other people. And then that's why I went to beauty school. Yeah, I did go to beauty school at some point in my life. I went to beauty school because that was like a thing where I'm going to come back and I'm going to be the best version of me. And then, no, that didn't work out that way. And then I went and studied something else completely different. And then I came back to the point where I'm now 33. And I'm now finding that you have, that flaw, it is yours. It's not going to change. It's yours. And you need to rock it the way you do. And no, I don't need to post a picture about it. And, I don't need to. I need to pep talk myself in the morning and tell myself, this is yours. This is what you got. And it's beautiful. And leave the house. I need to be okay that if someone says something, no, but now why does your brows look like that today? I should be able to be that at that point of peace where I'm just like,
but what is
It
the
was one of
response
those
for
days.
that?
Yeah.
Like, what do you say?
I
How
don't-
do you handle those kinds of people?
I don't answer. I just walk away.
That's where it turns into you love yourself so much and be confident in
Yeah.
that. The same way there's no salt in that food. Be confident in the one eyebrow facing the opposite direction.
But it's true because there's just some mornings, you have kids, there's just some mornings where you're not going to get it perfect. I mean, that's the thing that I see. My mother sent me this clip where she says, why didn't you just get it microbladed? I'm like, oh, I've seen too much horror stories. At least in the mornings I can take it off and I can draw it on or I can erase it. And do you get what I'm saying? I can style it myself. But if that person puts it on there, then it's, it's there permanently and people are going to look at me. I remember now, a few weeks ago. So I have a lot of gray hair. It's colored now, but I have a lot of gray hair. And there's always someone that says something, oh my hair started grys, or when are you going to dye your hair? So my thought pattern, and I started asking the question. So I must dye my hair. I must go buy dye, take the time to dye my hair because
You're uncomfortable.
You're uncomfortable with my gray hair. Like I get up and I look at myself and I'm okay with it.
Some of us dying for grey hair, guys. The grey is just not staying.
But you've had it before. You've gone the whole 9 yards to get it. Like it was a process for you. But the point I'm trying to make is, so I ask you that question to make you, I'm not trying to be rude or I'm just trying to make you see that it's actually inappropriate to ask someone something concerning their appearance. They saw themselves in the mirror this morning. They know exactly what's happening there. So it's, let's not break the next person down because sometimes we don't do it intentionally. It's just a question that everyone asks. So it's like the question of, when are you getting pregnant? Or when will you be pregnant? It's like it's inappropriate society norms. Yeah.
Okay.
So I also wanted to jump onto the fact of the self-love part, how important it is in terms of, I had someone once tell me, and this really stood out for me, where she was really skinny for a very long time, right? And then she just blew up, like a hella blow up. But then when she blew up, her partner kind of wasn't as faithful to her when she blew up. But it was always her not wanting to do this because I'm big now. I no longer look like I looked. So that confidence level slowly started going. She slowly started not looking after herself because of not knowing how to maintain her original weight, basically. So when we were speaking the one day, she was saying something to me, and I found it like it was really profound in terms of the fact that she says one day she just decided, no man, because somebody spoke to her and they said, no man, fix yourself. You don't have to lose weight, but dress appropriately, look good. We know you to do this, we know you to do that, we know you to... Your hair is always looking good, but now lately it's just in a bun the whole time. Just look good again. Go out again, do all those kind of things. And she literally took those words. She started dressing, buying sizes that is now hers, but started dressing the way everybody knew her to dress. She started doing her hair. She started, being like confident. You could see when she walks into a room, she didn't care who said what. She was that confident. And she said the minute she did that, her relationship with her partner changed so much, because he came and apologized to her. He stopped messing around and literally told her, I love the energy you bringing out. She's still the same size. She's still the same big woman she's always been. But just the fact that she changed something within herself and thought, let me carry this with confidence. Let me be happy with who I am, because I know what I'm capable of, but it's not shining through me. And then the whole thing flipped. As where her relationship is now in such a good place just because of that.
I think what stood out for me in that story was the person that came to her. Like, I feel like, I don't know about the choice of words, but it feels like it was from a place of love. It wasn't just a, oh, why are you letting yourself go kind of thing. It was like, hey, you don't have to lose weight. Just try and get back to your old self. And I think sometimes we need that wake-up call from, like, people that we love, because sometimes you can get lost in whatever you're going through, and you just need that person that's going to, like, pull you up and, you know,
just get
tell
you
you to
back
snap
on your
out
feet.
of it.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
I also a lot of the times what we do is because we feel so uncomfortable with the situation. It constantly it plays in our mind, and we're constantly anxious. Like, I know of people that are trying to lose weight, and because they concentrate so much on it, it's just not happening. For me personally, it's the gaining weight thing. Like, I struggled the daylights out of myself just to get to pick up some weight, because for me personally, I love fuller women. They just make the clothes look juicy, man, you know. Whereas, you know, other women feel, oh, but I want to be skinny. Like we're always going to have that. But men in general, other people see the confidence. So, you know, not just men in general, but people in general, see the confidence that you exude. Like, if you're just going to wear it, they'll say, yo, that looks so nice. And meantime, back at the ranch, you were thinking the whole time, yo, or me rather, I'd be like, yo, it looks like a broomstick. I look like a broomstick in this thing.
Yeah.
But then you walk, people are like, oh, you look so nice. But it's the confidence that exudes. So you must get to a point where you switch that flip and say, this is who I am, this is what I've got, and I'm going to make it happen.
So I want to ask you, based on that, so we were saying now that, speaking about the fact that people coming and sharing that with you to make you flip your switch, what can we do if we're not, because you get a lot of people that don't go out of a comfort zone. It's the same friends, and let's be honest, sometimes your circle, you might look good as hell, but your circle might have some sort of jealousy in it and will never say, oh, that actually looks good on you.
Yeah.
You'll just see they maybe went to buy the exact same thing and you see they now rocking it or something like that. Yeah, but you know,
that's toxic.
We're not by the toxic side right now. But for those kind of people that's not open to compliments, they're not around a crowd that gives the compliments. They're not around the crowd that, you know, gives some sort of love. Like you said, you can hear that comment had a lot of love in it, the advice. What advice could you think of to give somebody that doesn't operate in circles of, I want the best for you? How can they flip that switch in terms of...
There's a lot of motivational stuff. So Xavier has this thing where he bombards us. So when we're busy getting dressed, I'm just unintentionally, I'm listening to something motivational. Like, I don't know who it is, but I'm hearing him speak in the background. And it really gives you a boost. And it's good motivational stuff about anything, about our thought patterns, about even exercise. What we want to achieve quick fixes. We live in a time of quick fixes. I mean, I wanted my business to work overnight. You get what I'm saying? Like, we want it to happen right now. We want to be rich right now. We want to look pretty and have long hair right now. That kind of thing. And I'm speaking about myself. I want long hair, and I cut it, so I'm feeling kind of I know about it. But what I'm trying to say is that there's so many motivational stuff out there. Even if it's just 5 minutes in the morning, it really helps you. The way you wake up and leave the house really sets the pattern for the day. Because when it starts positive for me, that people can be and I've got road rage, I shame. But when I start my day out well, and then I'm like, you know what, peace to you, love in the land, bye. You know? And then there are the days where I fall out of bed and I'm busy with the kids aren't doing what I tell them to do, we're late for school, the lunch is burnt, which is a regular occurrence, lunch is always burnt. You know, and then you find yourself your whole day just going downwards, and you're exhausted at the end of the day.
And I think also, if you live with other people, that's when you need to enforce it even more, because if it starts off like that with your own self, it can easily spread to other people, and then now all of you are having a bad day because
one person had
a
a rough morning.
Yeah, we have the ability to control our environment. So if we don't start off well, everyone's going to go under it.
It's the end of it.
But that's what I wanted to say also about what you were asking just now, Van, is that I just want us or people in general to remember that you have to do it for yourself. Even if you do something amazing and nobody mentions it, like, you must still be happy about it. Don't start questioning it. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, but
it's something you work with.
Find out. I think it's possible to find out. I forced the hype man out of my husband. So when I do something like, did you see, I did it, did you see? So it's like, you must keep the peace, you must hype me up. You know? So find a hype man. I think it is possible to find someone who can.
Well, if you are in a relationship or married, I feel like that person should anyway be your hype man. Because if not them, then who?
But I think it's a lot of the times we get excited for something. And then we expect the other person to get excited, but we don't realize that they're not in the same frame of mind. So for me, that used to be extremely off-putting. I'm like, you're supposed to be that person. But I think
a win for you must be a win for me, isn't it?
So what I then ended up doing to overcome that, because I can't blame him, because we're not two of, like, now we catch each other because it's been 8 years down the line. But in the beginning, I'd be like, did you see? Did you see? Go ahead, go look at it, at it. So I force him into that bed so he can get excited and see my excitement in it.
But I also always say, in order for your partner to be excited with you, you also need to do the other way around. Because I always say, like, when we argue in the house or something like that, and there's a communication, I don't like the way you said this, or when you see we angry, I would like if you did this. And it's like, show me then. In terms, and I think it goes at the same way, like, if you are angry or in a situation and you want a hug in that moment of anger, when your partner is angry, eventually they'll catch it. Is this what she expects? So the same way in terms of the hyping, like you say, when your partner does something that's interesting, hype them up and say, like,
But you see, that's a common thing, because Xavier is not very affectionate. It's just how he is. So we speak about it a lot, because I'm extremely affectionate. Like, I want the hugs, I want the cuddles, I want that. And he's just not that type of person. So there's a lot of times when he'll be like, man, you're molesting me, when I'm just trying to give him a hug or something, you know. Like, that's how he is.
So are you that couple in the mall that walks like a meter apart from each other?
I shame no. When we're in the mall, he actually wants to take my hand, which is it's weird. It's the weirdest thing.
But they're gonna steal you.
That might be it. But what I'm trying to say is that he's not that affectionate. So when I'm just feeling really stressed, I just want, I need a hug, and just stand. So and he's extremely fidgety. Like, my daughter got that from him. He's extremely, like, just stand. I'm like, you don't have to pretend like this is torture. At least pretend like you're enjoying this. You know. So I'll just stand like this, and then he'll know, like, okay, I need to go hug. Like, I just need to hold her, like, for a couple of minutes. You know, and I'll be like, can you please, Xavier? Can you please? And then I don't even have to finish, but it took time. So, but how we got there was actual conversations to say, okay, fine, this is how I feel when this is happening, and this is how I feel when I'm upset. Just don't touch me, don't speak to me, don't look at me. But when I'm frustrated and I'm feeling sad or overwhelmed, this is how I want to. And that communication helps you guys to sort of, like, gel in it.
So we're now going to jump into the side of the others, right? Because we just spoke about the loving yourself, the different forms of loving yourself and everything. So now for the next part, we're going to speak about the importance of why we should love each other in order for the other part. And then I wanted to bring in I sent you that's actually a scripture.
What scripture?
So the scripture in the Bible that says, I actually have it.
love your neighbor as you love yourself.
No, before
Which one?
that, it first says the God piece.
Oh.
I just got again.
Tell us.
So it says, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all thy mind. This is the first great commandment. The second is, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Right? So basically the scripture is
It's a
saying...
tricky one.
Yeah. So basically the scripture is saying, in order for you to love your neighbor, you have to love yourself. So I wanted to ask you guys, why do you think that is a thing? Because like we said earlier, it's so easy to go into a relationship and expect that person to love you, and you measure your self-love based on the love that other people is giving you. Why do you think it would be one of the biggest commandments to love your neighbor the way you love yourself?
That's actually a whole show. Just that one sentence is a whole hour's worth of topic, because it's extremely heavy. Because in my personal experiences, is that if you are not okay with you, if there's certain inadequacies you see in yourself and you're not okay, and someone that's next to you has the qualities that you see lacking in yourself, a lot of the times, I think especially us as women, we become nasty. And I don't think, some of us don't realize and some of us do, the whole jealousy aspect. And sometimes I think it's subconscious. We don't realize that we actually acting in a certain way that's harming towards other people.
Yeah.
But it's purely because we see ourselves as inadequate, and they have those qualities that we wish we possess. The other thing is also that a lot of the times women go into relationships, whether it be friendships or relationships, but they don't value themselves, and then they end up in crappy relationships and being abused or being cheated on constantly, and they're like, oh, nobody loves me. But we must
What are you measuring your love on?
your love against? Yeah.
I agree with that also. Like I was saying earlier, like you attract what you put out there. So if you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, like Anka said, you're going to choose people that take advantage of you, don't treat you well, and you're not going to attract people that help you grow. Or even worse, you're going to attract good people, and then your bad vibes is going to rub off on them. And then you end up leaving someone worse off than you found them, which is 10 times worse also.
Because now you the impact.
Yes.
And like those friends that you said just now, that you're in this group, but they won't compliment you. They won't say, oh, you look nice in that. They would either say, oh, those shoes look nice.
Yeah, I was about to say, the ones that say, oh, that skirt is nice.
The skirt is nice. But they won't say, oh, you look so pretty in the skirt. Or they just won't say anything, and then they'll just end up, you'll just see, oh, they're rocking it, or, they which I don't have a problem with personally, because if people ask me, I tell them, you can go buy it there, I bought it here, here's the link, or whatever. That's the type of person I am. But you find that the reason why people do that is because they're feeling like inadequate, like that actually really looks good in her, so it won't look that good on me, so I'm not going to say, like, you look pretty in it, but the skirt looks pretty. Or, you know what, that kimono looks so good, hey. Instead of saying, Cleo, you look pretty, you look really good today, the kimono really suits you well. Do you get what I'm saying? It's and really, it's not the same thing. They don't mean the same thing.
They're both compliments, but
they don't mean the same thing.
The tone is different.
The tone is different, and the meaning is just really different, because you're not seeing me, you're just seeing, oh, I like your bodysuit. It's just, do you get what I'm saying? Instead of, oh, it makes your eyes come out, or that hairstyle really makes your eyes come out. You really look pretty.
Yes. And I think also that's what one of my issues is with like social media, is that there's a lot of superficial things happening there on social media. Like even the compliments that people have there, I saw a meme about it. Like a lot of it doesn't even make sense. Like you'll say, what's this one that people like to say?
You look trying to just, do the whole...
Yeah, like...
me thinking of extra attorney Wu.
Yeah.
How she just goes through the...
Okay, I don't know the K-dramas that you talk about. But it's like, what even? Or like, like random words with heart emojis and stuff. Like, what does it even mean?
Like, how could you? Like, it's like a compliment. Like, how could someone ever? Like,
yeah.
I think they're trying to say, how could someone ever look so gorgeous or something? But then finish the compliment. Say something meaningful.
So that's kind of the vibe I'm going on. But I think...
the fakeness going on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are faking it. And... I think
Sorry.
it has to do with the way this whole self-love movement is going in the wrong direction, because people are convinced that that's how they feel about themselves, but it's a facade a lot of the time.
But it highlights what you mentioned earlier, where that you're feeling uncomfortable with the fact that some parts of your body, now you're posting it in a bikini or in lingerie or whatever.
So
and
that
say-
somebody can approve it.
Yeah, so that somebody can approve it. I think it goes back to that superficial. And really, when the camera lights are off or your ring light is off and it's just you in your room, and
How do you feel?
How do you feel? You're stuck with your own
How do
thoughts.
you feel?
And our thoughts, for real, is our worst enemies. It is when you rethink a situation or a conversation you had, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't have said it like that. Maybe I should have done it this. It condemns you to the core, where you're like, I'm not going to show my face in public again. You know, that kind of thing.
So I would also say that in terms of the important for others, like we mentioned earlier, it's how you start your day and your morning and those kind of things. If you wake up positive, and the reason why you need to love yourself before you can love others, I would say also it plays a big role in terms of how love, peace, kindness, the whole rest of the thing just carries on to flow over, bubble over, and continuing with the example you made in the beginning, like your cup needs to be full first. Lots of people like to use that, how can you fill the next person if your cup isn't full, and all those kind of things. And if you are somebody that's living in a lot of hate for yourself, it comes across when you're in communication with the next person, whether it be a partner, whether it be a friendship, whether it be anything. Like you said, your talk around will just be negative talk. Everything will just be negative. And like you said, one thing you'd hate the most is if you the cause of negativity to flow over, rather than love, peace, happiness, joy, all those kind of uplifting things. We all want to make a difference in a positive light, and not make a difference in making everybody.
And I think that is something that is very important that we always should remember. People say, yeah, your cup must be full. Remember, your cup is always full. It is always, whether it...
But of what?
Yeah, exactly. If it's full of negativity, and if it's full of, all of your crappy emotions and whatever, that's going to overflow, and that's going to influence the next person regardless. But if you constantly try to put yourself in a positive space, if you constantly try to renew your mind, whether it be reading a positive quote or listening to a positive song, I think it's very important that you constantly do that, because everything that we hear and read, that forms our thought patterns, which is why for me, I don't look at the news. I know that sounds very ignorant.
I'm also
but
anti-news now.
and there's just certain things that I just don't look at, because I'm like, I don't need to know it. I'll hear it via the grapevine, and then we can research it if it's relevant. Relevant information to me. Like, COVID isn't relevant to me. We've gone through our trials and tribulations. We've had to deal with it, and I don't think that's being insensitive, because we've really had our fair share of all of that. But now it's irrelevant. I only need to know, is the borders open so I can go see my family? Do you get what I'm saying? And that's the same way we really need to see other information, to see, is this positive, is it working for me, and why does it need to have some renting space in my brain?
Yeah,
Why?
I think for me also, with self-love, another thing that's important that comes into that is self-acceptance. Because if you don't, as a person, accept yourself, you're going to go into friendships and relationships where you want to be accepted. And the easiest way to be accepted, most people think, is to give and to do. And then you're giving and doing and going all
But
out for
nothing
this
is.
person. And that's when your cup starts draining, because now you're not giving that energy to yourself, and it's not overflowing for this person. You're taking from yourself to give to them, and then you end up depleted, and then there's resentment, and it's just this whole...
I think the resentment comes from the expectation. There's an expectation from this person, and because we thought coming into this relationship is just a give. And if you're going to give someone something, they're going to take it.
Yeah.
It's just
And then when you're angry, then be like, oh, but I didn't ask you to do that.
Yeah.
I
But that
didn't say
goes
you
back
must.
to the same thing about the accepting who you are. Myself and a friend actually had this conversation in the week where she was trying to check me on something in terms of, you can't just do this and do that and do that and do that. And she's like, you also need to think, the situation is that the people always treat you in a negative manner, but you keep on giving with such an open heart kind of a thing, when you also need to know for yourself when is it enough. And I
Know your
actually said,
boundaries.
know your boundaries, but I actually said you as a person needs to know, are you doing it for them to do it back to you, or are you doing it? And I must be honest, for myself, I feel like I am blessed, as well as my husband and my kids. We're blessed because of the manner that we give. We literally never have what people think we have, but we constantly always giving and sharing what we do have. If we don't have and you ask for, we'll end up giving it, but our minds is not set on, and that's why I'm saying it makes a big deal about, like you said, you mentioned, what is the reasons you're doing it for? Are you doing it to get it back? Are you doing it for this reason? Are you doing it for that reason? But I feel like
Know your
once know your why. I feel
I
like
didn't say it.
I hate that just because of you know why. So every time it comes up, I think about that.
I'm just stating for for the record of this conversation. I didn't say it. Cleo said it.
But going back to me saying that, if you are doing it for somebody else's acknowledgement, or you expect them to pay you back in a different way, or always be my friend in the crowd, or always, there's some people that give, that when other situations appear, they want you to automatically take my side, even though I'm wrong. And I feel like once you know yourself, and once you're able to do it out of a place of, this is actually pure love, your cup will stay full, because you're not doing it in order of you taking from me, you taking from me, you taking from me, but more from a space of, like, there's that one quote also going to all forms of relationships. People make the mistake to say a relationship is give 50-50.
Yes.
As
It's
we
not.
give 100, give 100. So if everybody just loved like that, and
In a
not just
perfect
want to
world.
take in a perfect world, because there's some people also that surround themselves with people just to get,
Yeah.
and there's no genuine relationship behind it or anything like that. How far can you take me? So I feel like know you. Why are you doing it? And it will make things much easier.
Cute how you're dancing around it. Like all the other words in the
All the other words,
in
but
the
not
vocab.
no, yeah.
Not in that order,
Not
at
in that
least.
order, yeah. Why you know?
Okay, that's the most creative one so far.
So I just want to know, like, in the circle, are we answering the question of the topic? Like, are we touching on how our relationship with ourselves can affect other relationships, our other relationships?
I think we did. I think we
We
did
yeah.
extensively. I think we really, because remember there's
Or is there an angle you want to bring across that
No,
we
I'm
haven't
just-
mentioned? Bring the
I
angle
don't know
across.
yet. I'm
is there
not
something
sure.
specific you want?
No,
us
I just I'm kind of doing a recap in my mind.
to- okay.
Yeah.
Because I think there's so many aspects of this. Because there's that, and there's how do other people fit in? How does your career fit in? How do your
Yeah.
children fit in? How do you get?
Oi.
There's so many aspects of it. But I think at the core of it, because I think I had to go through a lot of trials, I can't say trials and tribulations, stages of my life rather, where I had to reevaluate myself in asking me, okay, now what's wrong with you? Because
Yeah.
I connect very difficult with friends, and very few people, because I'm extremely low maintenance. Like you'll hear from me, I have a friend in Namibia, we have been friends since primary school, but we'll probably speak every 2 years. Like, hi, a pop-in message. Hi, how are you? How's it been? And it's like we've never not. So very few people can understand that I have a very good friend. One of my best friends is also in Cape Town. Do you get what I'm saying? So I had to come to a point where it's like, is it really you? What's wrong with you? Because are you repelling people? Why are you repelling people? And then that was one of the answers to my question was, are you okay with the way you look? Are you okay with the qualities? Because no, I don't have a degree, and most of my friends do have degrees. Are you well established? I'm fairly well established for our age and for where we are in life, but other people have these type of cars and they have that, and you're like, my guy, stay in your own lane. So these are the kind of stages that it took me to get you, and each one I went through on its own. So it's not like a culmination at one shot.
Yeah.
So, but those are things that are conscious conversations that I've had with myself to say, okay, fine, how can you be better? To be okay, to come into a room and not be intimidated by the next woman. And just, you're a beautiful woman, I'm a beautiful woman, you're a beautiful woman. We're just sitting and just enjoying.
Yes.
How long, it took me a while to get to that point, but it was a conscious effort to get to that point.
And are you saying that you got to that point by your own self-awareness and having those conversations with yourself?
Having conversations with myself. I mean, I think the one was always, I used to like to dress like in a certain way before I got married. When I got married, I didn't have a job here. And I can't put that stress on other people to supply my clothes and how maintain my lifestyle. So you go into survival mode. You make do with what you have. And then your confidence level drops because now you come into a space where people just they always have new clothes on. And it sounds trivial and it sounds childish, but the reality of the matter is,
I get it.
Some of us, we think that, I thought that way. And to the point where I'm like, hi, no, this is where I am in my life right now. I'm not going to go make debt to maintain this image of other people who don't pay my debts. Do you get what I'm saying?
But this is one thing I also say that I always tell you as well when we think about that, because many a times then we'll say we're not in the situation to buy you now or whatever, and I always tell Anka, but don't miss the opportunity, because what Anka does is then she sits at home and she's angry she couldn't go because she doesn't have this, she doesn't have, and I'm like, I'm in the same situation, but you know what I do? I eat myself duck at home.
And I'll just stay at home.
I will eat myself duck. I will wear something that maybe that crowd, even if it was on Instagram, that day I just make sure I don't wear that hairband with it, for example, so that pictures look slightly different or something like that. But I always tell Anka, don't miss the opportunity of experiencing life because of what you don't have at the moment. Because
you feel so
nobody at
inadequate.
the table even notices you only drinking lemon water.
It's just you.
Because the conversation is going and it's going and it's going. And then I will say, you also know who you're driving with. For example, if we're together, I would say, okay, I have so much. So we can eat at home and say we're not hungry and order a platter for one, but we share it. There's many things.
I shame we do that all the time.
There's many things that you can do,
Yeah.
but still experience life, because the minute you put yourself into that pity party, that's also where you start losing a bit of yourself each time, because now it's I don't get to do what I used to do anymore. I don't get to this.
I went through that also, actually, now that you mention
Exactly. And then you start blaming your partner. It's not your partner's fault. Your partner can say, go, but I just have a 50 Rand. What's wrong with just choosing something on the menu that's 49 Rand 99 cents? You know?
Yeah.
Or even maybe you're 35 Rand, so you can contribute a 5 Rand to the tip or something like that. We put ourselves in some sort of pity party when we don't know how to deal with things. And I went through that as well, like you say. You're in a situation where, I'm not going to lie, I went through that with my family all the time. My cousins are people that's really stylish. So every time there's a gathering or something like that, you're constantly thinking, these people are going to be dressed to kill. You know that they have the means to dress to kill and all those kind of things. And now you sit there and you start questioning, do I look right? Do you this? Do you this? Do you this? And then it actually happened to me, and we went out recently and I was in a point of, I'm wearing this again. But who cares? And everybody that knows that my one cousin, she's always to the tea and whatnot. But yet she's the one that came to me and asked, where did you buy that? And it kind of clicks your mind and you're like, you're so consumed with what other people are thinking that you don't even think good about yourself. And then you sit there in your corner the whole night, and because that's what happens. You have your pity party and you assume everybody is thinking that, and you end up withdrawing yourself from people. And at the end of the day you say, why don't I have friends? Not realizing you put yourself in a situation where maybe the next time people say, no man, don't invite her, she's just going to sit there on the side.
Or she's going to be Nora when
Exactly.
yeah.
As where you can take your 30 Rand coffee and cheers,
Yeah.
you know? It's just a mindset of accepting where you are, appreciating where you are, and loving where you are. Because the same thing that I always say, I always think about how life was when I got married. We had a house. Our house was big. We had rooms. We had a man's cave. I had my own makeup room. We had 4 cars at the time, you know, those kind of things. And you look back and you see how you were living in that. So for us, we were drowning financially. But if we had to post it, you would think, yo, these people
Are making
it. Can a couple that's 21 have a house of their own, 4 cars, you must know? And my Audi was nice.
I'm sure you did love your
I
Audi.
love my Audi. This morning the kids asked me, Mommy, where's your white car? You know, because Isaiah is now into cars, so he recognizes that was a sports car. The kids think it's in storage. I'm not correcting them.
I'm sure because whenever they ask for something, like, it's in storage.
I'm not correcting them. But you get to a point where I used to cry every night where I'm like, I don't have a house right now. I don't have this right now. I don't have my car right now. I don't have any of this. But then when I look at how our lifestyle and appreciation for each other changed, it makes you appreciate, change the mindset. This is where we are now. Love the moment you are in now. You know, those kind of things. And then be happy and bloom.
And bloom. Leandra says, I love that, Evangelique. Don't miss out on opportunities to live your best life. And then the sad reality is that we have lost touch with reality because we now live in a virtual reality where we compare the truth with a highlight reel. And that is so, so true. We move the clutter out of the way and we make it seem like it's really great. Because yes, you did have the house, but were you enjoying the house?
No, because you thought about the bond
You
payment was
thought about-
extremely
yeah.
high. Our water and lights trying to figure out how do we get this on prepaid.
And you guys are constantly fighting because can't you just make a plan for this? Can't you just make... No, but I don't have. Didn't I tell you I don't have? Now you're just bickering. You're just fighting. You're versing each other. Whereas now you don't have this house. Maar julle is net lovey-dovey. Julle is net... You're just enjoying life. You're getting into the car, doing things together. Yes, we don't have a house, but we still have a place to live. We're still together. And we can now go and just sit at McDonald's or go sit at the restaurant.
Yeah.
You don't have to stand there behind the stove and make the pup yourself.
Make
Like,
the pup
make it again.
Now you're buying the pup.
Now you're buying the pup.
I do think like acceptance is a big thing, and it makes things a whole lot easier. And it's more like free flowing, because now if you're not accepting where you are, but you're just complaining and you're not trying to change it,
That's also what causes the stagnant part, when you're just complaining about where you are. You're concentrating so much on the negative that nothing is moving beyond that point.
Yeah, you don't see the positive in anything. So like you said now, I'm like, you know what? I don't have this money. I'm going to stay at home. And I don't have anything to wear any case. I'm going to stay at home. Then you're sitting there watching at the photos and you're like,
I should have gone.
Go
You've done that so many times
Go
and you're still
away.
not learning. Eh?
is this you calling me out? Can we not do
Yes,
this
I
behind
am
the
calling you
scenes?
out now. I'm calling you out now. We want the others to say, but Uncle, why weren't you there?
This is TMI. Behind
now
the
they're
scenes,
gonna
we'll
know
make
why.
a reel about it and post
Yeah.
it.
So now, if you do not see Anka in the pictures, go DM her. I am taking you on your finding yourself. Why are you not there?
He's zipping my tea out.
and I also just feel like if you find the right people, like if you have this group of friends and they're like, you know what, it's fine if you don't have, just come anyway.
Yeah.
It'll be your turn this time, next time it'll be my turn.
But then there's also friends that's always just your turn.
But
eh?
you see, that's my problem. I don't want people to ever think that it's never my turn.
But
So
that's why
I
you
like,
eat
so I shy
yourself
away.
duck at
I shy away
home.
completely. That's also true, yeah.
But this is
So I
also
shy away
why I
completely.
don't like, I know this is not really on topic, but going out with like a large group of people that's not really your friends, and then it's like a pay for what
Split
you
the bill.
got.
Oh.
Or split the bill is even worse.
That is worse
You know,
because
that's
what if my
worse.
thing was 30 Rand
No,
and now
that's
you
what-
Yeah.
I had an experience like with like that, and these were people that were way out of my league, and they're like, "No, just split." And I already took something that was 39 Rand.
Yeah, now
and
you
the-
must pay 200.
yeah, I had that situation.
Or
before.
like the thing gets passed around and everyone takes their money and the money's still short. And you know you already put extra for tip.
Yeah, that's
And
the
then it's
worst.
like
that
somebody-
happened to me once. I mean, with you know, now this happened with me with women that's, yeah.
That's what I'm also saying.
And I was thinking, is that why you're rich? In my head, my mind literally went there, is that why you're rich? Because you're leaving before the bold. You know what I'm trying to say? But then also it comes to the, what are you showing on social media? Are you really at that standard?
Yeah, no, I don't think.
Because it happened to me where I sat there and I saw the bowl was 100 and something short. And I'm like, I already paid more than I'm supposed to. My friend that we drove in one car, but she left early, she gave me more than enough.
Which is why I never
How
asked for
is
the
there
bill.
still?
I never asked for the bill because I walked away with a 5,000 rand bill the one day, and we were sitting there, we're like, how are we going to pay for this? And everyone had to pay for themselves, like, but people just left. So it was our event, but the terms were, you need to pay for you, and this is what we got. And we're like, how did we get here? Like how? And these were people that we also thought had money.
So you're washing dishes there.
You question. Like, everybody that I know made a budget for today, paid their budgets well.
That's why you don't ask for the bill. You just say, oh, what's mine? Okay, yeah, it is. Then you go on with your conversation.
But what I've learned with that is now, you say straight out from the front. From the get-go, don't wait for the time of the bill to come.
You know what
That's
you
also
had.
when you must be confident in yourself.
Yeah.
Before you get there, you look at the menu. I'm like that now. I'm not shy anymore now. I'm really
learned
not
your
shy
lesson.
anymore. I say, oh, this menu, the prices is a bit hectic, wah. And then I go, okay, so now already by you third, I thought the prices is hectic. So you should know by now.
I'm not
But then
going
aren't they going to suspect you first when the
No, because you
money
can.
show?
You can. What did you eat? You know what you
You
ate.
know what you ate. So
I ate the 39 rand breakfast. That's what I ate, and I had water with a lemon. That's what I.
No, sometimes I'm more giving than I'm supposed to be. Most times, actually, because I'm the one that says, that's another thing, guys. Come on, man. Don't always have the one person ask, do you want to go do something? Pick up your phone also. Don't say, oh, I haven't spoken to her in 30 years. You know, you yow people, if you ask, oh, how's she doing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't spoken to 30 years. She doesn't call me. You also pick up the phone.
Make the first move
Make
too.
the first
And there's
move.
nothing wrong with giving extra. There really isn't anything. It just shouldn't become a habit where other people think constantly. You should just,
Yeah, we should invite her because she always...
yeah.
Yeah, but that was a fun one.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks?
Not today.
Not today. We said a lot
I think
today.
we said a lot, yeah.
Today was one whole closing remark.
One whole closing remark. It was fun. I had fun. Thank you, ladies, for
good to be
joining
back.
us. Ash says, thank you, ladies, for a great show. Thank you so much for watching. And, oh, did I tell you I met your people?
What people?
So anyway,
Your
now, I
people.
won't tell the full story. I'll just say that we were at a restaurant and my husband saw this couple with a lot of kids, and then he went to ask, how you guys handling so many kids? And the wife turned around and said, hi, I'm a Gab fan. So I felt so good.
I know exactly
I
what you're
felt so
talking
good.
about.
I was like, oh, Gab fan. So thank you so much for watching, guys. We hope to see you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.